Welcome back to One Piece Anime Re-Review Part 27A. This I'm just reviewing the first 4 episodes and Impel Down. Part 27B basically will cover the filler arc that happened during the middle of this. Now, these first 4 episodes, Impel Down arc, where we have Hancock and Luffy, they've actually read Impel Down. Luffy does explain that he has survived Buster Call. He doesn't get too deep into it for the call to go outside, and the fact that they do mention what the whole thing of Buster Call is, in case you may have forgot about it. And the place is surrounded by 10 warships. So Luffy hides in Hancock's clothes. I've read fanfic where it's an alternate universe of this, where he does weird things inside of Hancock's clothes. Oh boy. So of course, she makes some moves like, something wrong? Like, nah, it's fine. And of course, because we're here, even though she's a visitor, she has to put in sea stone handcuffs. Just her, not her snake. So they just walk and they meet the deputy, the vice warden, where he thinks that, oh yeah, I should be the current warden. Probably because that the warden himself, yeah, they explain when he shows up in the 4th episode that apparently he spends 10 hours a day, I kid you not, in the bathroom because he has a severe case of diarrhea. And he spends 8 hours sleeping and gets maybe, if between breaks, he gets maybe 4 hours of work done every day. Which, yeah. I'm sure Momonga, basically, that's the name of the admiral who's with the Mohawk. Yeah, his name, Momonga. They actually say his name. Yeah, I keep forgetting the guy's name, but this is the first time I can think of that I remember actually saying the guy's name. Birdo was simply the admiral with the Mohawk. It's a cool Mohawk. So, they just walk into Impel. Well, first, Boa Hancock has to go through a ship search. Because of course she does. And time to take off all your clothes. And of course the vice warden is has very lustful thoughts of seeing the smoking hot Hancock butt naked. Also, before she's walking in, the sailors all were lovey-dovey toward her. And she meets up with the deputy interrogator. By the way, if anybody knows basically what uniforms these guys are wearing, they look like Nazi uniforms, but without the swastika. But it's the same type of. They look like German uniforms, and this is the standard uniform for a prison. Okay, and when it comes to the deputy interrogator, she kind of looks like one of those spoof things when it comes to Nazis. The woman who's usually in those spoof covers. Yeah, blonde hair, glasses. And now, in case you're wondering, a woman doing a ship search on another woman, this is perfectly standard, from what I've heard. Yes, and this is done in private. And before Hancock can take off her clothes, and she's like, "Be gentle," and then of course her heart goes lovey-dovey, and then she goes, "Live the beam," and turns her the stone, even the transpire snail. So then Luffy gets out of her clothes, and just she's like, "I can't go any further with you." He's like, "That's fine. You got me this far, so good enough. Just thank you." So give him my name one more time. He says, "Sure, Hancock." He's like, "Oh," and then he basically just hides the ceiling. "Hancock, you can turn it back to normal now." And then she proceeds to turn back normal. Of course, she had to take off her cloak, make sure she doesn't hide anything. Don't worry, she gets cloak before she leaves the prison. And basically, Morgan, the vice warden's like, "What is taking so long?" And of course, then the people in the Transpire Center were basically wondering, what's taking so long? Oh yeah, and also they're also drooling all over Hancock. I mean, what guy wouldn't drool over a smoking hot woman like Boa Hancock? I mean, she's my favorite female character of the entire series. Yeah. I mean, I like her because she's a damn good fighter, and she's in love with Luffy. Not just because she's hot. So, and then Transpire Center is like, "Oh yeah, everything's fine." And of course, but the that handcuffs on her, but thank God not her snake because she doesn't have their powers. So they just walk to the prison. Oh yeah, the warden's office on the 4th floor, where it's like hell itself in the midst of the Crimson Forest. And both Momonga and Hancock are disgusted at what they see. I mean, I get Hancock. Momonga, I'm not all that surprised. Even he probably finds all the tortures appalling. People are whipped, hit with maces. I'm like, wow. They just go over the top with the torture. And by the way, these guys get off on torturing these people. And they're torturing them for absolutely no reason. Just because they have a pain fetish. And Momonga's probably thinking, man, I need to put word with the fleet admirals and have there be a change in this damn prison. And he's also probably thinking, man, this is how they say it is. The place is a hellhole. What prison isn't? So, he uses an elevator, and the elevator is really slow. Now, this is, as far as I can tell, excuse me, in this series, this is the first time I can think of they've actually shown an actual elevator in the One Piece anime, because in all the previous arcs of the series, I don't think they've ever actually shown an elevator. They've shown a lot of stairs, but elevators? No. And this is more like an old-fashioned elevator that's done by a chain. Okay. Of course, Hancock does see Luffy wandering about, and Luffy using Ace vehicle to look for him. Ace on the 6th floor, so he's not on there. So he goes down a little bit, goes on the 1st floor, where he just happens to run into Buggy the Clown. Yep, Buggy's got out of his cell because he uses chop chop fruit. Yeah, apparently the Navy had no idea that. I mean, they knew he was a wanted person. They didn't know he has devil fruit powers. So he helps Luffy out in exchange for giving him a armband Nami gave him back in, I think it was like Thriller Bark. And apparently that's a key to Captain John's treasure. Who this Captain John is? I don't know. Because he just looks for the treasure for some reason. Yeah, he's obsessed with looking for it. Aside from taking down Luffy, he's just obsessed with it. Oh yeah, and they do a sort of an explanation of his devil fruit powers. Where even though he can actually levitate, which didn't know that he could do that, but apparently Luffy had to carry his feet. As long as he's in the ground, he can levitate as high as he can. And then they go down to the Crimson Trees level. And the trees and the grass are like sharp, like razor sharp. And we see prisoners down there where they're covered in blood. And they all just want to go home. They want to stop. The guards are just happy to see these prisoners get tortured. And Luffy's like, damn. And look how Buggy is immune to this because he has a choppy fruit. So he's able to slice up his own feet. So he's able to walk to the place no problem. And they get to a hole and like, oh, this is the hole down 2nd floor. Like, okay. And then apparently, oh yeah, they also, well, they're on the, I think it's the 2nd floor, the Crimson floor. Before they get down there, basically be a bunch of sea monkeys. And they get on the 2nd floor like, oh, must be a floor of wild beasts. First they come across a side-changing hippo. It's like, oh, that's nothing. And then they come across a freaking basilisk. I'm like, okay. And they proceed to punch this thing through a freaking wall. And they come across some more prisoners. And one of the prisoners happened to be Mr. 3, making his first appearance since the Alabasta arc. And it's like, oh, oh, you're the 3 guy. I remember you. Yeah, in case you wonder about this guy, he joins Buggy's crew after this arc, which there's more to that. So they hide, and then we see, now the Magellan himself, the warden, he does make his debut into episode 4. And they finally get to the 4th floor after hearing all the screams. Monga's like, can we please just move on? Hancock is like disgusted by this. And, well, why it's so hot? Because it's the hot floor. The warden's office in a place is not hot, and they proceed to go to his office, and then we cut to Marine headquarters where they hear about Luffy breaking into Impel Down. And they mention, oh yeah, this actually one person officially broke out of Impel Down. Gold Lion Shiki. The main villain of One Piece Strong World. Yeah, the character is canon, but the movie isn't. Yeah, and the next arc of the series is a filler arc. I'll probably look at the filler arc right after I finish up Chivalry of Failed Knight, which is only got about 8 episodes left, so that'd probably take me about, I'd say, a little over 2 hours. I'd say probably almost 3, just to get it done. I might not get done today. I'll probably cap it off tomorrow, but I'll probably get close to it today, okay? But see you next video. Bye.